But before he went to Afghanistan and you fell in love, what type of man was he? Who was the original man you fell in love with?
He was the joker. He was always interested in making everybody laugh all the time. He was always the person to make you happy, to make you smile. He just couldn't stand people being miserable or sad about anything.
So, do you know, have you discussed between the two of you what it was over there that started this?
I know a little bit. One thing I do want to say is that it's not anything necessarily combat related in the sense of it wasn't gunfire, it wasn't explosion. It was things that he actually saw out there and things he had to deal with out there that has done this to him. Whereas a lot of people seem to think that, you know, oh, I wonder what happened, I wonder whether he was shot at or whether he lost a friend, and he didn't. So it just goes to show that there is so much more that happens out there that does affect people.
When did it first show the signs?
As soon as he came back, I noticed. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and now looking back, I can see his behaviour was odd. But I just put that down to, well, he had been away for 7 months, he had missed everyone, he was being a bit irrational, a bit, let's go do this and let's do it quickly. And I just put that down to that. You know, once you've seen some bad things, maybe that's how you live your life, but then it escalated and it never calmed down.
Well, there was a moment when he punched through a door, and then there was another moment with you, and it was a reaction to something completely normal. You asked him if he wanted a cup of tea, and what happened?
Yeah, we were just talking in the kitchen. He was a bit off anyway, but nothing major, nothing I was concerned about. And he just turned around, he just looked just not there. He wasn't there at all in his face. His eyes were blank, and he just picked me up off the floor by my throat.
Really frightening for you.
He had no idea it was you, did he?
No, he had absolutely no idea. His eyes were just completely glazed. He had absolutely no idea. And then he just snapped out of it. His eyes went so sad, like the sadness in his eyes was awful. And then he just let go, and he burst into tears like you should never hear a grown man cry. It was awful.
Oh, gosh, I mean, incredibly painful for you. Getting a diagnosis has been difficult because he hasn't wanted, up until now, he hasn't wanted to face it. And you did get that diagnosis in 2014. What's the process been like of him coming to terms with that?
He hasn't, because he hasn't had the support there. So he hasn't really, to be honest. I mean, he knows he has it because it's being diagnosed. And he's now coming to terms with that through a fantastic charity that he's working with. But he hasn't. Even now, some days he's still in a lot of denial about it. But
also because he can't, well, he's unfit to work. On May the 23rd, he's going to be discharged. You're in military accommodation, aren't you?
We are, yeah.
So that means in 9 weeks you've got to move out?
Yeah, we have 90 days to move out of the property. Yeah.
And anywhere to go?
No, absolutely nowhere.
And,
no,
and he's got a job at the moment, but it's
he's been in work now for a week. He's determined to provide for his family. He doesn't want his family to live on handouts. He wants to be a good example for his 3 sons. And I admire it, but realistically, how long is he going to hold down a job? Because he also has lower back problems that the MOD have chosen to do nothing about.
How much support have you had?
From the MOD? Nothing. Nothing. We haven't had a phone call. Ironically, we had one 2 days ago. And that was the first time in 2 years that someone actually contacted Luke to check on his well-being.
Well, the MOD said the mental health of our people is the utmost importance, which is why we provide a variety of support, including education and access to health services. We encourage those that need help to come forward and get the assistance they deserve.
It's not true at all. My husband Luke saw 9 different clinicians in a year, 12 months. Just passed from pillar to post. They either couldn't deal with how severe his PTSD was, or they were going on maternity leave. And if you know someone's going on maternity leave, why would you then pass someone on into their care?
Let's talk to Nick and Eva, because they've helped sufferers from PTSD, as we saw a moment ago, with some miraculous results. Increasingly, we're hearing more and more because those servicemen and women are coming forward and talking about it. Oh, I'm not sure they can hear us. Can you hear us, guys?
Only very quietly, and the line's cracking up, unfortunately. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think that you can help him?
Do we think we could help him?
Absolutely we could. I mean, the thing is, we've not heard the interview because it's a really bad line, but I know that through Nikita's video, she said that she felt the MOD are at fault. However, she also said that Luke saw 9 psychiatrists over a year period. And in our view, it's the psychiatrists that are at fault, not because they didn't care about what they wanted to do, but essentially the information that they're passing on, the treatments they're passing on, are flawed. And we know that if we saw Luke, that we could successfully help him overcome PTSD in no more than 2 sessions.
All right,
Okay.
well, let's hope
We'll
that
leave
maybe
that in your
he'd be...
hands, really, with that one.
Yeah, I mean, as a couple, you have to decide whether or not you want to do that.
There is one thing I would say. They're saying the MOD aren't at fault because it's the psychiatrists, but the psychiatrists are provided by the MOD. So, of course, they're at fault completely. It's not good enough and it does need to change. But like I was saying to you before, they've let him down with his back. That was in 2009. Nothing was done and now his back's beyond the point where people won't actually touch him.
Well, what we need to do is try and move forward from this point. And if you go home and you have a chat and you do want the help of the Speakmans and he feels up to it's his decision ultimately, then let us know and we'll see what we can do.
That would be great.
All right, send him our love, please do.